Hello and welcome to the show today. I'm really excited to have this really important conversation about the power of the young vote. Cheryl Lowery is no stranger to the world of civil rights and community activism. She is the president and CEO of the Joseph and Evelyn Lowery Institute for Justice and Human Rights. And her mission is to carry on the legacy of her mother and father, who were foot soldiers to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and passionate advocates for voter registration. Welcome back to the show, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me, Portia.
It's good to have you here. And I mean, you grew up in the civil rights movement. You knew this was all that you knew. It was watching your family fight for our people to have the right to vote, and then transitioning to getting people registered to vote.
Yeah, that absolutely is what my life was about. I laugh, and some of my peers who have parents who were also involved in the movement. On the weekends, we went to marches,
right,
and to voter registration rallies, and to extend the Voting Rights Act. And so, absolutely, comes as no surprise that I would end up in an area where I would want to help young people understand the value and the meaning of voting.
Yeah, and as I look at this picture of your beautiful father, it almost brings tears to my eyes, because I just remember as he got older, and for years, every birthday party, every event, everything that he attended or had something to do with, there was going to be a component of voter registration and a very polite nudge not to miss a single election.
Absolutely. Aside from his faith, aside from his family, there's just nothing that was more important to him than making sure that we all have the right to participate in what governs our universe. And so it's important, and I'm so proud to work with young people who energize me every day because they get it and they understand.
Let's talk about the work of the Institute, because it was something that was created, your parents created, long before, obviously, their passing, but the concept of being a change agent. That's what you're teaching young people to be, because it is beyond the polls, but getting to the polls first and foremost, right?
Absolutely. But we try and address social justice issues as it relates to, for example, with civic engagement. We have a capstone team, which some of the students that you'll see later on today are part of and have been a part of, I'm proud to say, for 4 years. They keep coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of that. And it's because they are gaining something. They're gaining the opportunity to research. So often people will say, I see your dad on television, and he was just always prepared and always ready to address an issue. And it's because he was prepared, because he had read, because he had done the research. He had determined where he thought and what was going down, as he would say.
Yeah, yes.
As he would say, what's going down? Here I go.
Yeah, there we go. She does this thing where she sounds like her father in an instant, and it always gets me and moves me.
But that's what we have to be cognizant of. I sometimes young people, I think about how my dad, at 97 years of age, how many people did he vote for that shared none of his principles? I mean, when you talk about the better of two evils, that's what our people have done through the centuries. But what I try and impress upon young people, or through the decades, but what I try and impress upon young people, that voting is an accumulative activity. It's not a one and done. You have to stay engaged, and so many who talk about changing the system, I encourage them to do that. But until they do, we've got to work with the system that we have.
That's in place. And so I know it's a conversation that you've had. I know it's a conversation that your parents had when we hear this concept of apathy with young people. And more recently, I feel like we're hearing this language of, I get what my ancestors did for me, but that's not enough. Now, of course, voters of a certain age, that really rubs us the wrong way. But for the children of the movement directly, when you hear that,
you play in the dozens. That's what
you play literally. Like those are fighting words.
Yeah, they are fighting words. But I think that this generation, who I have a lot of respect for, and I defend them completely, because this is the generation that went through a pandemic that we didn't explain or understand or could have explained to them what was happening. And yet the students would always say to me, well, it's not fair. They're doing this, and I'm, baby, who is they? We're all experiencing this, but the dreams that we asked them to believe in were crushed. Their internships went away. They were 4 or 5 years years old when our first black president was elected,
Right.
and yet black lives, still had to be told that they still mattered because they didn't see the changes that they wanted to see. And so I think that this rush to self-gratification has confused the issue somewhat. And again, if you want to change the system, work within it and change it. Do that. You're smart enough, bright enough to do that.
Yeah.
However, until you do, this is a system that we have. Someone will be elected on November the 5th. We're doing early voting now and encouraging everybody to go out. I think when this airs, it'll be the last day of early voting. And so it's just significant and important to let's just get out there and make our voices heard.
And to your point, though, even beyond this election cycle, right? I mean, every 4 years we're going to do the presidential election, but every year there's something on the ballot that is going to impact you, your family, your grandparents, your children.
We start talking about local elections in the 5th grade with students because if you're going to be a lifelong voter, you need to understand how things affect you when your trash is picked up.
Right.
If your cousin got a DUI, how long he stays in jail.
Right.
Judges
The
are
judges.
elected.
Yeah, so many important issues on the table.
Yeah.
And so important here. And when we return, we're going to have a conversation with some really impressive Gen Zers who have a lot to say about getting to the polls and casting your ballot. I'm telling you, they are bright, they are brilliant, and they are eager to get to the polls. You're going to hear from these college scholars when we return. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe, and go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.